In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Apollo.io step by step, even if you are completely new to the platform. This tutorial is perfect for beginners, but it can also help intermediate users who want to understand Apollo more clearly. We'll go through the basics, like creating an account, setting up your profile, finding leads, using filters, saving contacts into a list, creating a sequence, checking emails, using meetings, exploring analytics, and finally, understanding the pricing plans. Let's not waste any time, and let's get started. First things first, we need to create an account. If you already have an Apollo.io account, you can skip this part and simply log in. But if you don't have an account yet, just go to Apollo.io and click the Sign Up for Free button here on the top right. After that, wait for the page to load. Once you are on the Sign Up page, you can sign up using Google, Microsoft, or you can use any email that you want. For the sake of this video, I will simply use my Google account because it is faster. Just remember to check the box here before continuing, because Apollo may require you to agree before you can create the account. A few moments later, once you're done signing up with your email, Apollo will redirect you to this setup page. It will ask for your full name, but since I signed up with Gmail, the name is already filled in automatically. Next, it will ask for your company name and company website. If you don't have a website yet, just check the No Company Website option so you don't need to enter one. For the company name, I'll just use Novexa for this tutorial, but you can enter any name you want. Once you're done, click Continue. After that, Apollo will ask a few onboarding questions. You can choose the option that fits you the most. Since this is just a tutorial or demo account, I'm going to choose Other, then Continue. After that, Apollo will ask how you want to start using Apollo today. You can pick as many options as you want. Don't worry too much about this part because you will still have access to the other features later. This just helps Apollo guide your experience inside the platform. Next, Apollo will ask you to connect your email to get started. This is important because Apollo can use your email for outreach, automated sequences, deliverability support, meeting scheduling, and other features. You can choose Google, Outlook, or another email provider. You can also skip this step if you are not ready yet, but for this tutorial, I'm going to connect my email so we can see more of the outreach features later. Just follow the instructions on the screen, allow the required permissions, and wait for Apollo to finish connecting your email. Once you are done answering the setup questions, your account is now created, and Apollo will bring you to the dashboard or home page. All right, now we are inside Apollo.io. One thing you'll notice right away is this section called Your Path to Outreach. These are missions Apollo gives you during your first 14 days, so you can earn credits and start using the platform properly. You'll see missions like Start Reaching the Right Prospects, Get Your Inbox Ready to Send, Scale Your Outreach, and Turn Activity into Meetings. Basically, Apollo is guiding you through the important steps you need to complete, so your account is ready for prospecting and outreach. Since we only just created our account, I've only earned 10 credits for now. But if you complete all of these mission tasks, you can earn more credits, up to the amount Apollo shows here. Credits are important because they are used when you reveal contact information, save leads, or use certain prospecting actions. So if you are using the free plan, it is a good idea to complete these beginner missions because they can help you get more out of your account without upgrading right away. Now, if you look at the navigation bar on the left side, you will see the main sections of Apollo. Under Prospect and Enrich, you have people, companies, lists, and data enrichment. Under Engage, you have sequences, emails, calls, and tasks. Under Win Deals, you have meetings, conversations, and deals. And under Tools and Automations, you have workflows and analytics. You can also close the sidebar if you want to make the screen cleaner and only show the icons. If you hover over the icons, Apollo will still show you what each one means. You can also lock the sidebar if you want it to stay open while you work. The good thing about Apollo.io is that most of the important tools are organized on this left side, so once you get used to the layout, it becomes easier to move around. Now, let's go to the People section under Prospect and Enrich. This is where we can find leads. When you are doing outreach, a lead usually means a person who could be a potential customer, client, partner, or contact for your business. In this section, Apollo gives us a large database of people, and we can use filters to narrow the list down to the exact type of person we want to find. Before we add any filters, you can see here at the top that Apollo shows a very large number of people in the database. You may also see something called total and net new. The total is the full number of results that match your current search. The net new number means contacts that you have not saved yet. So if you already saved some people before, Apollo can show you which ones are still new to your account. This is helpful because you don't want to keep saving the same leads again and again. On the left side, we have different filters. The first one here is lists. This lets you filter contacts based on lists from your own account or your team's account. If you already created lists before, you can use this to find people inside a specific list. For now, since this is a new account, we don't need to use this yet. Next is persona. You can create a persona with AI, or you can create one manually. A persona is basically a saved group of job titles, seniority levels, departments, and other criteria. This helps you prospect faster because instead of adding the same filters again and again, you can create a persona once and reuse it later. For beginners, you don't have to use this right away, but it is very helpful once you already know the kind of people you want to target. Next is email status. This is one of the most important filters, especially if you are planning to do email outreach. You will see options like verified, unverified, user managed, update required, and unavailable. Verified means Apollo has verified the email at some point. It does not always mean the email was verified in real time at this exact moment, but it is still usually the safest option compared to unverified emails. Unverified means the email has not been confirmed by Apollo. User managed means the email may have been added, edited, or managed by you or your team instead of coming directly from Apollo's verified database. Update required means the email may no longer be valid and new data is available for review. Unavailable means Apollo does not have an email address for that person. For this tutorial, I'm going to choose verified because we want cleaner results. Just click the checkbox beside verified, and Apollo will update the list on the right side. Now the results are focused on contacts with verified emails. And just like this, the email status filter is complete. I'm going to click the arrow here so the email status options are hidden again, and we can move to the next filter. Next is job titles. This is very helpful when you are looking for a specific group of leads. You can type a job title here, like manager, project manager, teacher, owner, student, director, software, engineer, and many more. You can also search for your own job title. For example, let's say we want to find editors. I will type editor here and Apollo will show matching job titles. Once I select it, Apollo will update the results and show people who have that job title. You can add more than one job title if you want. For example, you can target editors, content managers, video editors, and creative directors if those are all relevant to your campaign. You will also see an option to include people with similar titles. If you turn this on, Apollo will expand your search and include related titles. So if you search for editor, Apollo may also include titles like assistant editor, editor-in-chief, content editor, or other similar roles. This is useful if you want a broader search, but if you want a very specific list, you can leave it off. Now let's scroll down a little. You can also exclude titles you don't want. For example, if you don't want teachers included in your lead search, you can add teacher under the exclude section. This tells Apollo to remove people with that title from the results. This is useful because sometimes a job title can bring in results that are not really relevant to what you need. After adding the excluded title, just wait for Apollo to update the results. And now, teachers are excluded from the search. After that, we have management level. Here you can choose levels like owner, founder, C-suite, partner, VP, director, manager, entry, and more. This helps you target people based on their seniority. For example, if you want decision makers, you might choose owner, founder, C-suite, or VP. If you want people in more hands-on roles, you might choose manager or entry level. For this example, I'm going to choose entry. Once I select entry, Apollo will update the list on the right side and show people who match that management level. The results may get smaller because we are making the search more specific. Next is Departments and Job function. This lets you choose the department the person works in. You might see departments like sales, marketing, operations, engineering, human resources, design, and more. You can select from the options Apollo gives you, or you can search for a department yourself. This is helpful if the job title alone is not enough. For example, someone may have the word manager in their title, but you may only want marketing managers, not operations managers. So using department filters can make your search more accurate. Now, let's go to the advanced options. Here, you may see options like is known or is unknown. If you choose is known, Apollo will only show records where that information is available. If you choose is unknown, Apollo will show records where that information is missing. I know this might seem confusing, but once you try it, you'll understand. These advanced options are mostly helpful when you are cleaning your search and you only want leads with certain information available. Now, let's go down to the company section. Here, you can filter people based on the company they work for. You will see options like is any of or is not any of. If you select is any of, Apollo will only show people who work at the companies you choose. So if you type Canva here, Apollo will show people who are connected to Canva. This is useful if you already have a list of companies you want to target and you only want to find people from those companies. For example, I'm going to type Canva and select it. Once Apollo loads, you'll notice the total number of results becomes much smaller. That is because we are now only looking for people connected to that company. The more filters you add, the more specific your search becomes. The fewer filters you use, the broader your search becomes. So if you want a very targeted list, use more filters. But if your results become too small, remove some filters and keep the search broader. For now, I'm going to remove Canva so our lead search becomes larger again. Following the same steps, you can add or remove company filters anytime depending on what you need. Next is location. You can choose a contact location by city, state, or country. For example, I can type United States and select it. Apollo will then show people based in the United States. You may also see account headquarters as another option, but for now, we'll stick with contact location. Contact location focuses on where the person is located, while account headquarters focuses more on where the company is based. Now, if you select zip code radius, you will need to enter a zip code. Then you can choose a radius, like within 25 miles, 50 miles, 100 miles, or another distance depending on the available options. This is helpful if you want to target people near a specific area. For example, if your business only serves a local market, you can use zip code radius to find leads close to that location. For now, I'm just going to use United States again so we can keep the example simple. As you can see, once we add a location, the total number of results changes. This is normal. Every time you add a filter, Apollo updates the results based on what you selected. One thing you'll notice is that filters are really the main tool for controlling your lead search. If your list is too broad, add more filters. If your list is too small, remove some filters. Next is employees. This lets you filter based on the number of employees in the company. You can choose small companies with 1 to 10 employees, mid-sized companies, large companies, or companies with 10,000 plus employees. This depends on who you want to target. If you are selling to small businesses, you might choose 1 to 50 employees. If you are targeting enterprise companies, you might choose 1,000 employees or more. For this tutorial, I'm going to leave it as it is because I don't want to narrow the results too much. Next is industry and keywords. This is where you can choose the industries the companies are in. Since we are using editor as an example, we can choose something related to editing, content, media, or design. I'm going to select design because it is connected to creative work, editing, and content production. This makes sense if we are trying to find people who may work around creative or media-related roles. I'm also going to search for online media and media production as industry keywords. These are good options because editors are often connected to media companies, publishing companies, creative agencies, video teams, or content production businesses. This helps Apollo understand the kind of companies we want to find. You can also include company keywords here, or type the keywords yourself. This is helpful if you want to find companies connected to a specific service, industry, or niche. For example, if you are looking for web development companies, you can type keywords like web development, software development, or website design. Apollo will then try to find companies related to those keywords. If you hover over the question mark here, Apollo explains that keywords are curated from company websites, social media, and other sources using Apollo AI. So basically, Apollo uses different public sources to understand what a company is about. You can also use the company description option. Apollo says the company description is created from multiple trusted sources like social media descriptions and SEO descriptions. This can help you find companies based on how they describe their business online. I recommend enabling keywords if you want a more targeted search. But don't add too many keywords at once because that can make your results too narrow. Start with 1 or 2 important keywords, check the results, and then adjust from there. This is similar to the previous step where we slowly added filters instead of adding everything at once. Next is the Market Segments filter. This helps you target companies based on their business type or category. For example, if you want editing companies, you can look for a segment that matches media, creative services, video production, or content-related businesses, depending on what Apollo shows in your account. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to skip this part for now because we already have enough filters for a beginner example. Next is the AI filter section. This lets you use AI to target companies or people based on specific criteria that you type in. This can be useful for advanced targeting, especially if you already know the exact kind of leads you want. For example, you might type something like companies hiring video editors or companies that recently expanded their marketing team. But since this is a more advanced filter, I'm going to skip this part for now and move on. Let's move faster so we can focus on the features most beginners will actually use first. Next is buying intent. This helps you find companies that may have active interest in solutions like yours. You may also see locked icons here, which means those filters are not included in your current plan. If you are on the free plan, some filters will be locked and you will need to upgrade if you want to access them. There is also a scores filter. Scores can help you filter leads based on custom scoring, depending on how likely a lead is to match your ideal customer profile. There is also an owner filter, which lets you filter records based on who owns them inside your Apollo account or team. This is more useful for teams where different people manage different contacts. Next, you may see filters like technologies, revenue, funding, and job postings. These are useful if you want to target companies based on the tools they use, how much revenue they generate, whether they received funding, or whether they are hiring for certain roles. For example, if a company is hiring many salespeople or marketers, that could be a signal that they are growing. Now let's look at signals. If I click on signals, Apollo gives options like recently promoted, former champion, changed jobs, high buying intent, rapid growth, opened 2+ emails in the past week, and new role. These signals are useful because they help you find people or companies based on recent activity. For example, if someone recently changed jobs, they may be open to new tools or new services. If a company is growing quickly, it may need more support. The cool thing is, Apollo lets you use these signals to make your outreach more timely. You may also see website visitors. This helps you identify people or companies that visited your website if you have tracking set up. This is useful because website visitors may already have some interest in your business, but if you are just starting, you may not use this right away. Next is email opened. If I click on this section, I can choose yes and enter the minimum number of emails opened. For example, I can say opened at least 2 times, and I can also set a date range. This would help you find contacts who engaged with your previous emails. Since this is just a tutorial or demo account, I'm going to remove the email opened settings after showing it. I'm only showing you where this is and what it does. Later, if you are actively sending outreach emails, this filter can help you find people who are already engaging with your messages. Now, some of you might be wondering why some names or details are blurred or hidden. This usually happens because of your plan. As you can see, I'm currently using a free plan, and full contact details are not always available on the free plan. If you want to see complete names, full contact information, or access more data, you may need to upgrade your plan. But for learning the platform and creating a beginner tutorial, the free plan is still enough to understand how the system works. Now let's say I want to save the leads that I searched for. I can simply click the checkbox here. You can also select leads one by one, but that can take a lot of time. If you want to select multiple leads faster, click the main checkbox near the name column. Then Apollo will let you choose how many people you want to select. You can also set max people per company. For example, if I only want one person from each company, I can set the max people per company to 1. This is useful if you don't want your list to be filled with too many people from the same company. Since I'm on the free plan, I can only select up to 25 people at a time. If you want to save a larger list, you may need to upgrade your plan. For now, I'm going to choose 25 because that is the maximum available for this account. Then I'll click Apply, and Apollo will select those contacts. Once the contacts are selected, we have a few options. We can add them to a sequence, email them, add them to a workflow, or add them to a list. For this part, I'm going to add them to a list first because lists are easier to manage, especially for beginners. I'll click Add to List, then Create New List. I'm going to name this list Apollo Tutorial, but you can name your list whatever you want. After that, click Update. And just like this, the lead list section is complete. Now let's go to the list section from the left navigation. I'll select the list that we created earlier, which is Apollo Tutorial. Once I open it, Apollo will show the leads that we saved earlier. If you don't immediately see all 25 people, you can refresh the page and wait for Apollo to update the list. In this example, only the verified contacts may appear at first, depending on the filter that is active. If I remove the verified email status filter, I can see all the people that were saved, but let's just keep it verified for now. The reason is simple. Verified emails are usually better for outreach because they reduce the chances of sending to bad or unavailable emails. It does not guarantee everything will be perfect, but it is a safer starting point, especially if you are new. Now let's say you want to export the list. You can select a few leads, then click Export. Apollo may give you options like Export All Emails or Export Verified Emails Only. If you want cleaner data, Verified Emails Only is usually the better option. You can also edit your CSV export settings. If you click that, Apollo will bring you to the CSV export settings page, where you can adjust what fields are included for Contact CSV export or Account CSV export. You can also view your export history, which shows exports you have done before. You may also see an option to preview an AI email draft, which can help you see a possible email message based on the lead information. Once you are done, you can click Export Records. Alright, now we are done with the basic people search, saving leads, creating a list, and exporting. This is one of the most important parts of Apollo because finding and organizing leads is the foundation before doing outreach. Next, let's go to the Companies section. In the Companies section, we are not searching for individual people anymore. Instead, we are searching for companies. Earlier, the People section showed us individual leads, like editors or managers, but in Companies, Apollo shows businesses and organizations. This is helpful if you want to first find the right companies, then later find people inside those companies. For example, if your ideal customers are design agencies, media companies, software companies, or accounting firms, you can use the Companies section to find those companies first. Inside companies, you can use many of the same filters. You can include specific companies using the Is Any of option. You can also include or exclude a list of companies by entering company websites or company names. Apollo even gives examples so you know what format to use. This is useful if you already have a list of companies you want to research or avoid. For this video, I'm going to go directly to the industry filter. Since our example is connected to editors, I'll choose media production and design. These industries are connected to editing, content, creative work, and media teams. Once I add these filters, Apollo will show companies that match those industries. You can also add more keywords to make the search more specific. For example, I can add graphic design. This is useful because it helps Apollo focus on companies connected to creative and visual work, which may also be relevant if you are looking for editing-related businesses. You can also set the employee range. Let's say I only want to find companies with 10,000 plus employees. I can select that range, and Apollo will show companies that match it. Bigger companies may have larger teams and more departments, while smaller companies may be easier to reach but may have fewer contacts. It really depends on your goal. So basically, the companies section works similarly to the people section, but instead of finding individual leads, you are finding companies. This is good if your workflow starts with account-based prospecting, where you choose target companies first and then find the right people inside them. Once you are done searching for leads or companies, you can always go back to the Lists tab to manage what you saved. In my case, I saved 25 records earlier, and the type is people because the list came from the people search. You can see who created the list, when it was last modified, and you can also add it to a sequence or export it. The list section is very useful because it keeps your saved contacts organized instead of making you go back to the people search every time. Now, before we move to the next sections, I just want to say this quickly. The main beginner workflow is already done. We already learned how to search for leads, apply filters, save contacts into a list, export records, check companies, and create a sequence later. So from this point, I'm going to move a little faster. I won't go too deep into every single advanced feature because some of these depend on your plan, and some of them are more useful once you already have real campaigns running. But I still want to show you where they are and what they do, so you understand the full Apollo.io dashboard. Next is the data enrichment section. This is where Apollo helps you improve or update the data you already have. For example, if you already have contacts inside your CRM, Apollo can help fill in missing details like emails, job titles, company information, job changes, and other useful data. You may also see credit usage, missing emails, enrichment job activity, and CRM status here. If I go to the CRM section at the top, you can see that I haven't connected anything yet because this is just a new tutorial account. But if you are using HubSpot or Salesforce, this is where you can connect them. The purpose of this feature is to keep your contact and company data more complete and updated. For beginners, you don't need to focus on this right away. Just remember that data enrichment is useful when you already have existing leads and you want Apollo to improve or update that data. You may also see CSV enrichment, job change alerts, and form enrichment. Some of these may require an upgraded plan, so if you cannot access them on the free plan, that is completely normal. For now, let's move faster and go to the next section. Next, let's go to sequences under the Engage section. Since I connected my Gmail account earlier during signup, we can now look at how sequences work. A sequence is basically an automated outreach campaign. You can create a series of steps, like sending an email, waiting a few days, sending a follow-up email, adding a phone call task, or adding a LinkedIn task. This helps you stay consistent instead of manually remembering every follow-up. When you open sequences, Apollo gives you a few options. You can use the AI assistant, start with a template, or create from scratch. For beginners, templates are helpful because you don't have to build everything from zero. I'm going to choose templates for this tutorial. Here, Apollo may show different template categories like call-based templates, stage-based targeting, signal-based targeting, or industry-based targeting. For this example, I'm going to use a signal-based targeting template with job postings. I'll click Use Template, and Apollo will open the sequence builder. Now we can see the steps inside the sequence. Step 1 sends an automatic email, which is the first message. Step 2 is a follow-up email, and Step 3 is another follow-up or update depending on the template. This is helpful because it gives you a basic outreach structure right away. Of course, you should still edit the emails before sending them because you want the message to match your audience and your offer. Now we need to add contacts to the sequence. I'll click Add Contacts. Apollo gives different options. You can use prospect search, upload a CSV file, or select a saved list. Since we already created a list earlier, I'm going to choose Select List. Then I'll choose Apollo Tutorial and add the contacts. After that, Apollo will add those contacts to the sequence. You can also add another step if you want. At the bottom, you will see the Add a Step button. If you click that, you can add a step with the assistant, which means Apollo can help you create a step using AI. You can also choose automatic email, manual email, phone call, action item, or LinkedIn task. Automatic email means Apollo sends it based on the sequence schedule. Manual email means you still need to review or send it manually. Phone calls and LinkedIn tasks are reminders for actions you need to take outside of regular email. Before activating the sequence, make sure your email message is edited, personalized, and ready to send. This is important because once the sequence is active, Apollo can start sending based on your settings. Make sure to save your changes. This is important because you don't want to lose the sequence setup. Once the sequence is ready, click Save Changes first. After that, you can turn on Activate to make the sequence active. And just like this, the sequence section is complete. Next, let's go to the Emails section. Once you start sending emails through Apollo, this is where you can check email activity. You can see scheduled emails, emails sent this week, positive replies, and your inboxes. You can also filter emails by status, from user, sentiment, from email, sequences, contact lists, date range, not sent reason, and email opened. For example, if you have multiple sequences and you only want to check emails from one specific sequence, you can use the Sequences filter. Let's say I want to check the emails from the job postings sequence we used earlier. I can select that sequence and Apollo will show the emails connected to it. This is useful because it helps you review performance and activity without getting everything mixed together. The good thing about Apollo.io is that your prospecting, sequences, and email activity can all connect inside the same platform. Next is the Calls section. This section is for Apollo's voice dialer and call tasks. Basically, it can help you make calls, record calls, transcribe calls, and sync those call activities with your CRM. This is helpful if phone outreach is part of your sales process. But since this feature usually needs a higher plan, I won't spend too much time here. Just know that if you upgrade later and you want to call leads directly from Apollo, this is where you will go. Next is the Tasks tab. This is where you can manage reminders and follow-up actions. For example, you can create call tasks, email tasks, LinkedIn tasks, or general follow-up tasks. You will also see overdue tasks and all your assigned tasks here. If you want to create a task, just click the Create Task button, then fill in the details like who the task is associated with, the task type, title, description, and due date. Once everything is filled in, you can click Create Task. This is helpful if you want to stay organized and avoid forgetting your next action with a lead. Now, let's go to the Win Deals section. Again, I will not go too deep here because this part is more useful once you already have active outreach and people are starting to reply or book calls with you. But I still want to show you the basic idea. First, we have meetings. This is where you can create meeting links and manage booked appointments. If someone books a meeting with you from your outreach emails, this is one of the sections where you can manage that. If you click Create, Apollo will show different options like single host, multi-host, round-robin host, inbound router setup, and intake forms. Single host is the best option for beginners because it is just one person hosting the meeting. Multi-host is for meetings with more than one host. Round-robin is for teams because it can rotate meetings between different team members. Inbound router is more advanced and helps route leads to the right person. Intake forms are used to collect information before someone books a meeting. For this tutorial, single host is the best choice because we are only using one sender and one basic setup. After choosing it, you just need to fill in the meeting details, host details, buffer and limits, email reminders, and invitee questions. Once everything is done, you can publish the meeting link. And just like this, the meeting section is complete. Next is Conversations. This section is for call recordings, transcripts, and meeting analysis. It can work with tools like Zoom, Google Meet, and Microsoft Teams. This is useful if you want to review your sales calls or keep track of what happened during meetings. But for a beginner tutorial, we don't need to set this up right now. Next is Deals. This is where you can manage sales opportunities. You can import deals from a CRM or use Apollo as your CRM. If you are only learning Apollo for the first time, you can skip this for now. But later, if you are using Apollo for a real sales process, this is where you can track leads as they move closer to becoming customers. Now let's move to tools and automations. First, we have workflows. Workflows help you automate actions inside Apollo. For example, you can create a workflow that adds contacts to a list, assigns tasks, updates fields, or triggers actions based on certain conditions. This is useful once you already have a clear process, but for beginners, you don't need to use this right away. Next is Analytics. This is where you can review your performance. You may see email stats, emails sent, emails opened, replies, blocked emails, prospecting activity, deliverability rates, and other reports. I can't show the full analytics layout here because this account does not have access to every feature, but the main purpose of analytics is simple. It helps you understand what is working and what needs improvement. For example, if you send many emails but nobody opens them, you may need to improve your subject line or deliverability. If people open your emails but do not reply, you may need to improve your message. So analytics is not just for looking at numbers. It helps you make better decisions. Now let's quickly check the inbound section. Here, you may see website visitors. This is a newer feature, and you can tell because there is a new label here. Website visitors helps you track companies or people who visit your website, but you need to install Apollo's tracking pixel first. If I click Add Website, Apollo will ask me to type or paste the URL of the website where I want to add the tracking pixel. Apollo also explains that the same pixel works for both company-level and person-level tracking, and you only need to install it once. This can be very useful because website visitors may already be interested in your business. After adding the website, you can click Save. Of course, you still need to install the tracking pixel on your actual website for this to work. You may also see other inbound tools like forms, people, and companies. These are connected to the same idea, which is tracking and managing people who already interact with your business. Since this is more advanced, we'll keep it simple for now and move to the final part, which is pricing. And this part is important because after seeing all the features inside Apollo, you might be wondering which plan actually makes sense for you. The answer depends on how you plan to use Apollo. If you only want to learn the platform, the free plan is enough. But if you want to use Apollo for real lead generation, outreach, sequences, and reporting, then you may need to upgrade later. The free plan is great if you are just starting out. You can explore Apollo, test the interface, use basic filters, save a small number of leads, and understand how the platform works. This is perfect for learning or for a beginner tutorial like this. The basic plan is better if you want to start using Apollo more seriously for lead generation. This is where you usually get more credits, more prospecting access, more filters, CRM integrations, and better outreach features. If your goal is to build lead lists and start sending outreach consistently, this is a good next step. The professional plan is better if you already have a sales process and you want more advanced features like stronger automation, workflows, reporting, call features, and deeper analytics. This plan makes more sense if Apollo is going to be part of your daily sales workflow. The organization plan is more for teams and companies. This is useful if you need team management, advanced reporting, security features, SSO, API access, and more control over how everyone uses Apollo. So my simple recommendation is this. If you are just learning, start with the free plan. If you are ready to do real prospecting and outreach, go with basic. If you want automation, analytics, and a more complete sales system, go with professional. And if you are working with a team, then organization makes more sense. Also, make sure to check Apollo's pricing page before you upgrade, because pricing and features can change over time. So, all right, that wraps up our apollo.io http://apollo.io/tutorial. We created an account, explored the dashboard, searched for leads, used filters, saved contacts into a list, checked companies, looked at enrichment, created a sequence, reviewed emails, tasks, meetings, conversations, deals, workflows, analytics, inbound tools, and pricing. If you are a beginner, don't feel like you need to master everything in one day. Start with the most important parts first, which are finding leads, saving them into lists, and creating simple sequences. Once you understand that workflow, the rest of Apollo will become much easier. I hope this video helped you understand how Apollo.io works and how you can start using it for prospecting, outreach, and sales automation. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss future tutorials. And if you have any questions or you want me to cover another tool next, drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.